Aftab's family knew that there was violence going on. Maybe even drug smuggling. Maybe even drug intake. Maybe even womanizing. Maybe. It's emerging. What kind of man did they produce? What is the responsibility of the parents of the boy? I think tremendously negligent. We are always talking about the grooming of the girls. What about the brewing of the boys? Why can't they be broomed if they misbehave like that when they grow? There's a predictive relationship between alcoholism, drug abuse, and domestic violence. We could have remained a vigilant, a fourth pillar of the government. Had we not gone political, we could have remained. That's how we were envisaging.
Okay.
That we'd remain an independent, non-political force which would speak up of corruption anywhere. Say if I were Chief Minister of Delhi,
Yes.
I would have stopped, first of all, that smoking coming from Punjab. I find the current Prime Minister highly result-oriented, truly Karam Yogi. If every bureaucrat, whatever their responsibility, is Karam Yogi, walking the streets, smelling, feeling, hearing, seeing, correcting, hands-on, even for an hour a day, India would be different in the next 4 or 5 years.
Namaste, Jai Hind. Welcome to another edition of ANI Podcast with Smita Prakash. He strangled her to death and then chopped her body into several parts. He stuffed those body parts inside a refrigerator. He put her head into the freezer compartment. And then one by one, he started disposing of those dozens of body parts in the jungle. When the body parts started smelling, he would light an agarbatti. He brought other women friends into the house. For months, no one figured out till a friend got suspicious. Aftab is in custody. Shraddha's family and friends have to come to terms with the fact that all her body parts may never be found. There is no closure for families who have lost a loved one in such a horrific manner. Indians are transfixed about the horror story of Aftab Poonawalla and Shraddha Walkar. Soon after the Shraddha Walkar episode, 3 other such brutal copycat murders came to light. In all the cases, the killer and the victim knew each other. They are labelled as crimes of passion. Why is it that some murders, gruesome murders, just shake us to the very core? Why is it that most of us ask the same question? Why did she not walk away? What drives a man to become a beast and not give out any signs of abnormality? You would think that the police or reporters are accustomed to seeing such crimes of passion and it would not impact on us, at least not impact on us in an emotional manner. But it does. So I spoke with a police officer who knows Delhi like the back of her hand. She was the first woman officer of the Indian Police Service. Kiran Bedi has worked tirelessly to reduce crime against women. Ma'am, thank you very much for coming to the studio. Most of us are very disturbed, even though, as reporters and you as a police person would have seen so much of crime. But there are some crimes which just, जो कहते हैं ना, दिल को छू जाता है. We can't understand why some crimes are, like people say, why is it this crime more important? But कुछ ऐसे होता है जो दहला देता है बिल्कुल. Shraddha Walkar and this Aftab guy's crime is one of that. Can you please explain to me that how did this happen? How can a man chop a woman into pieces and then start disposing of those body pieces and koi kuch nahi samajh pata that why has this happened? Neighbors don't know. There is no trail for months on end. How did this happen in 2022?
Look, it's becoming evident that she was looking for help. She was looking for help, and the latest news is that she was dissuaded from pursuing the matter by the man's family. So where's man's family? We're not even talking about the man's family.
Yeah.
It hasn't revealed yet that she was coming back to her main family, mother and father. But it's also revealing that the mother has actually died out of that kind of...
the trauma.
The trauma. She's passed away. Or maybe she passed away. Probably she didn't have much of a communication relationship with her father. We don't know. But another news which is emerging is that the Aftab's family knew that there was violence going on. maybe even drug smuggling, maybe even drug intake, maybe even womanizing, maybe. It's emerging that Aftab's family knew. Where is this family? We're talking about the woman's family. So I'm a little wondering, why haven't we connected yet with this man's family? Why?
Yeah.
Because this man is a product of his family.
Yeah.
Just as this girl is a rebel in her own family, the boy is a product of his family. He's not a rebel. He's not walked away. I believe they went and stayed back also. He's been connected. And he's also made, something's shifted. Something went wrong that the family shifted house. Why? So I think that stage is yet to come.
So it's not just a crime of passion which he's claiming now. In the heat of the moment he killed her.
It's not a heat of the moment. No. Certainly not. It's developed over a period. Because it's clearly that she's been asking for help. She's gone to the doctor. She's gone to the dentist. She's gone to a counselor. She's gone even to a female counselor. And the female counselor was told, no, the family is not helping. Family is not encouraged in pursuing the matter.
But ma'am, it's a very common thing. Now, you've dealt, when you were in, I think Western Delhi or something, you were policing at that time. You also dealt with so many crimes like this against women. You brought down the graph when you were in the police. Crimes against women came down. You must have seen so many such incidents. Maybe not as macabre as this, but brutal incidents you must have seen, right?
Look, these are cases. If a woman it's come to your notice, you can do this crocine.
What?
You can do, means minor medicine.
Okay.
You can prevent it if you catch it early.
Okay.
In this case, she could have been caught early. How? When I was growing up in service, Domestic Violence Act wasn't there.
Correct.
United Nations came with this Domestic Violence Act, etc.
80s, I think, right?
Later. But the time early, there was no domestic violence as a crime.
Yeah.
That's why you never had these crimes against women cells. They all came after the UN convention.
Yeah.
So therefore, that time, when police was sending these women away, कि कोई crime नहीं है, कोई हड्डी थोड़ी टूटी है, grievous hurt थोड़ी है, simple hurt है, simple hurt तो cognizable offense नहीं है, हड्डी टूटे तो आ जाना. This is how women were being sent away in the earlier years before domestic violence came. I'll tell you how I dealt with it. Now that is the woman in me, or empathy in me, or compassion in me. It can be a part of the man's nature too. I used to use preventive sections of law, which I said very minor medicine. Preventive sections of law could have been used even here. So I used to use these preventive sections of law, even that was called CRPC, Prevention of Breach of Peace.
Okay.
Apprehension of breach of peace. This can be always used. And this is a British-made law. CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code. British-made law, apprehension of breach of peace, section 107, 151. You can even arrest the person, but it's not a criminal proceeding. It's a peace proceeding where you listen to both the parties and bind them down for good behavior.
But that's if the girl comes to the police. Yahan pe to she only went to the doctor, to the dentist. Why isn't the doctor supposed to see domestic violence, that it seems like domestic violence, and report it to the police? Is there nothing like that?
Smita, it should have been done. Such things we suspect. Because a girl may not speak.
Yeah.
The doctor could speak, the police officer who got the complaint could speak, the NGO could speak, and they could go back to these preventive sections of law, where both the parties would have been summoned and then heard and then bound down for good behavior. Now, violation of that binding down means 6 months prison. So you don't need a Domestic Violence Act. You can use these proceedings both by an SDM of the area or by an Assistant Commissioner of Police of the area. This is what I used to do earlier. You'd be surprised, my whole PhD thesis became domestic violence and drug abuse. When I was doing my PhD, I changed my subject because I saw rampant domestic violence and with no solutions. Then I studied, and there's a predictive relationship between alcoholism, drug abuse, and domestic violence. It's a predictive relationship. In any family where you have alcoholism or drug intake, very few go to sleep after this. Very few just go to sleep. Majority indulges in violence. Majority indulge. Very few. That's what proven research is showing. So that means majority of the women are silently being abused and they are tolerating it in all hours of the night.
Ma'am, in this case, the man is a very intelligent killer. So if you are saying that in the possibility that he has done some kind of drug abuse or alcohol abuse, and it would have shown up in his blood.
Yes,
Right?
it would.
Now he's so intelligent that he has managed to dispose of these bodies, dozens of part of the bodies. He has, without anybody getting to know, 2 a.m. jana, and he's done it in such a manner in different places. So he would have known. He would have stopped consuming those drugs or whatever so that his blood doesn't show that by now.
Addicts don't.
Okay.
They are habituals then. He's habitual. He's almost habitual. He was dependent on regular alcoholism. The womenizing, getting more women. I think that's also appeared that he probably had other women also.
This is deviant behavior, isn't it?
It's more than deviant. It's 100% criminally delinquent behavior.
Okay.
And she was tolerating this nonsense. Why? Maybe she thought, where does she go back to? Who does she go back to? The man had his home. She didn't. I think that's the key. She was a very insecure woman.
मैम तो यहाँ पे ना बात वही उठती है that where is the support system? Why is it that Shraddha felt that once she has rebelled against her parents, once she has fought against her parents, she can't go back. And she can't even convince her friends कि बचा लो मुझे. She can't tell her friends, and the friends don't find it in them to do anything. So na friend circle, na siblings, na parents. What is this then?
She went to her friends, few friends, but they were dissuaded to follow up further. So she didn't. She tapped her old friends, but the friends, they said, follow up करने की जरूरत नहीं है. I think she was not allowing them to move further. And now friends also were hesitant that they may not disturb her own personal life, so they may intrude into personal life. The fault lied only with her. She wanted to hang on.
Yeah.
She wanted to hang on. I do not know why she was wanting to hang on. So after all, she was an educated woman. She had worked also.
Correct.
She had a job also. She gave it up. So I think that's the problem with these kind of young women. Is what is their priority in life? Is a priority only to hang on to a male security or to live together yet with some dignity and self-respect? That's the question. See, it's okay, perfect. Everybody looks for a lifelong companion, a credible, secure. But here she is saddled to a violent man. And she's constantly saying, ये मुझे मार रहा है, ये मुझे मार देगा, मैं बचा लो मुझे आके. But why is she not walking to a police station say मुझे बचा लो? बचा लेते. अरे domestic violence act भी होता और बाकी proceedings भी होती, NGOs भी आ सकती थी. See, now of course we are looking back, and looking back makes you wiser. But it was all preventable. That's the character of the woman. Why does she become so weak-kneed that she feels this is the beyond and the end all of her life, being with a man even if in an abusive relationship? And fortunately, she doesn't have children. I can understand a mother with children. कि मेरे बच्चों का क्या होगा? So she tolerates. Many mothers do tolerate. Many mothers do tolerate for the sake of the future of the child. They suffer violence. It's a fact. But in this case, where is it? Is she just herself? And she could go back to work. Why did she not? She did not have anybody friend connecting with. I think she was totally into this person's control.
Yeah.
Total control. I think that's where she was suffering from. I think the upbringing, this total deficiency in the way these women grow up in education. You only made them literate. Yeah. You only make these women literate.
Yeah.
They are not educated. Because education means self-confidence.
Ma'am, यहाँ पे again I'll come back that the parents and the society, the siblings, the friends, none of them give that sense to the woman that, this is not the be-all and end-all. Do not tolerate violence. Do not tolerate violence at the workplace. Do not tolerate violence in a relationship. Do not tolerate violence even of your parents. I need to bring the parents bit also, because soon after the Shraddha case, there's been another case where a woman her body was found in a suitcase where her father shot her dead and her mother wrapped her body and put it in a suitcase and threw it. Why? Because she had an intercaste marriage. So Here is a case again. You've given birth to a child. What pushes parents to do this?
Seriously wrong with parenting in India. Any woman who succeeded in life, go back, she'll say, my parents. Yeah. Every woman's life who's gone wrong, she'll say, went wrong in grooming. She may not say it, but went wrong in grooming. It's a weak need, weak grooming. It's a confused signaling. A woman, a liability. A girl is a liability. Even the brother thinks, ek din tumne chale jana hai. You're a migrant. In fact, the biggest migrant population in India is a woman in India. She's a migrant. Why? Loses her identity, loses her surname if she chooses to not keep it, and changes her home. Well, who's a migrant? Migrant is one who has to leave their own home and goes elsewhere. There's a larger definite migrant. They migrate. Here, you are told you will migrate.
Yeah.
So, migrate. तो मेरा घर क्या फिर? वही जो होगा. That means यही है मेरा. So, I think this message of तुमने तो migrate करना है. तुम तो
Parayadhan.
Parayadhar.
Parayadhan all the time.
You are Parayadhan. I remember when I was growing up, others would hear it and parents would say, तुम Parayadhan नहीं हो.
Your parents, I mean, I need to bring that in. Your parents were phenomenal in the education that they gave, the strength they gave you and your sister to be achievers. She was a phenomenal lady too. And you did so much in your career because your dad stood by you at every step of the way. And you've told me this off camera about how your father played a role in your life and how parents supported you. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making you emotional.
No, that's okay. I owe all my life to them. It's both mother and father combined. You get 200%. If you get 200% from them, you add your 100%, you are a 300%er. Here we are not, girls are not even 100%ers. They're probably 70, 60. Imagine any one of us, you and I we are 300%ers.
Yeah.
You were speaking to Palki the other day. I loved that interview. That woman is also 300%er.
Yeah.
Those women who made it top in their lives and become now inspiration to others are 300%ers. And 200% are mummy, dad, and 100% they themselves. It's not the 100%ers coming from society. It's from them within, how they dealt with society around them. Even when society tried to pull them down, question them, saying, and be envious of them, they stood their 100% because they got 200% from their parents.
Yeah. So, what would you advise? What would you advise neighbors? That is also very important. When nobody bothered to check, I asked people around, and they say, "वहाँ पे तो कुछ समझ में ही नहीं आता उस area में." But I need to dispel this rumor where people say कि छोटे flats वगैरह में जहाँ पे होते हैं वहाँ पे नहीं. No, that's not true. It's not just in people who live in flats. It's people who live in बड़े bungalow में भी, in big houses too. Ma'am, I'll give you a example myself, which I experienced for myself. Many years ago, I got a call from the maid of a friend who called and said, "Jaldi aa jao, Didi ne apne wrist kaat diye." Okay, she's cut her wrist. There was a fight, a domestic fight, and she has cut her wrist and there's blood everywhere. So I rushed. It was in the middle of the night. Her husband had consumed alcohol, had a fight, and she had cut her wrist. So by the time, a joint family, by the time I reached, the sister-in-law had taken my friend to a doctor. So I was like, why has she gone so far away? Because there was a hospital right in front. Right? I'm coming to the point which you had made about, how doctors need to make a point. So I said, why has she gone so far away? Which was like, several kilometers away, gone in the middle of the night to a hospital. So I reached the hospital, the doctor's thing. It was a small, dingy clinic. And these are very well-off people. But they have taken their sister-in-law to a dingy clinic, jahan pe stitches kar diye raat ko, and brought home. So then I came back. This was the time when there were no cell phones. So I came back home to see ki wapas aa gayi hai. She had come home. And then I just looked at her and I said, why didn't you go across the road to this hospital, which is right there, Mulchand? Why didn't you go there? So then the sister-in-law said, "Arey, wahan pe to medico-legal case ban jayega." So then I spoke to her parents. I said, this is what happened. चलो बेटा अच्छा हुआ ना, मेडिको लीगल केस बन जाता तो नाक कट जाती.
हाँ, वो नाक की कट जाए, नाक की कटनी. नाक ऊंची नहीं होनी. नाक कटाने के से डरते हो. नाक ऊंची नहीं भी हो सकती. आपकी नाक भी ऊंची हो सकती है अगर आपकी बेटी और बेटा लायक है. तो ये नाक कट गई, क्योंकि नाक नहीं कट गई, जीवन कट गया. These parents do. Parenting is I think all of us parents go untrained. We all become parents by trial and error. And look at the damage we do. I think that's where parents who are far ahead, parents who are visionaries, parents who believe in the quality of life, believe in self-reliance, man or a woman, I think groom their boys and girls better. I think we're only talking about the girl. What about the boy's family?
The boy's family, yes.
What about this man, Aftab's family? What kind of man did they produce? Did he not show signs of these deviancies, drugs, dating, etc., and womanizing? I'm sure he's doing it during his time while he's there. What is the responsibility of the parents of the boy? Of the boy? I think tremendously negligent. We are talking about, I am, so are we, many, talking about the grooming of the girls. What about the brewing of the boys?
Yeah.
Why can't they be broomed if they misbehave like that when they grow?
Yeah.
Because they're afraid that they might broom them. They are afraid of the sons. So I think unless we groom...
They are afraid of their sons, you're saying?
They're afraid of their sons. Afraid of sons of leaving them by themselves.
Because dependency, financial dependency, emotional dependency on a son, ki wo dekhega humko budhape mein. So don't say anything against the son. If the daughter-in-law or would-be daughter-in-law is being harassed by your son, side with your son instead.
Our grooming is very bad. Girls being considered to be not being trained to be weak-kneed, not courageous, and boys irresponsible. Irresponsible behavior is the grooming of our boys and our girls. Most of the boys who've grown up well and becoming great partners in life are those who were groomed by parents.
Ma'am, what about the neighbors? Why is it that whole, जैसे beat constable का होता था, खबरी होते थे, is that thing there or not in Delhi? It's one of the biggest cities. After Mumbai, your largest population is Delhi, Calcutta. यहाँ पे कहाँ है? Where is that khabri system of neighborhood?
There was a very good campaign a while ago, a couple of years, Ring a Bell. There used to be a campaign by some NGO called Ring a Bell. There can be two things. Ring a bell, if you find something screaming out. Somebody said, हमें आवाजें आती थी. तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? 100 को फोन कर दो कि इस घर से आवाजें आ रही हैं. नाम न बताओ, they'll protect your name. 100 से यहाँ से आवाजें आ रही हैं. तो क्या प्रॉब्लम आएगी? 100 की जिम्मेवारी बन जाएगी. It will become a PCR call. It's not a case registered. It's information to the police. It is the duty. Do you know? It's a duty by law to be informing the police of a suspected crime. It's a duty of a citizen. Citizens need to know that it's a duty to report crime or such incidents of crime to the police. In fact, you don't perform duty, you can be liable. But we don't follow this up. So ring a bell. Ring up 100. घर नहीं जाओ, रिंग भी बेल नहीं करो. चलिए, अरे क्या हो रहा है? आवाज आ रही थी. नहीं, सब ठीक है. कितनी बार तभी वो क्या करता था? Maybe when they were fighting, they would probably switch on the shower.
So that you don't...
He said loud music. One of the interrogations reportedly is loud music. इतना loud music क्यों आ रहा है? Is it something being doozed?
Yeah.
So I think ring a bell, too much of water usage, tenants' water, the landlord verification, right? Ring a bell, ring up 100. I think that will make a lot of difference.
Landlord verification gets me to the point of this Mangalore killer, that bomber, the pressure cooker bomber. What he did was that he stole Aadhaar card and he changed the picture. That's what the police report says. He changed the picture and then he goes to Mysore and he rents a place with the name called Prem. His name is something else. He calls Mohammed something and he changes his name. And that poor lady, single woman or whatever, old woman, usne Aadhaar card dekha and she gives... she's a landlord. She gives him. He stays out there. He takes another stolen ID and he gets a SIM card, right? And he gets a SIM card from Chennai. From there, he uses that phone. He uses this. He sends PDF. These are all smart Alec criminals. But it is so easy to forge, to fudge identity in this country, and there's no way of verifying. How many of us keep household helps? सफाई के लिए किसी को रख दिया, ड्राइवर किसी को रख दिया, आधार कार्ड दे दो, टेक द आधार कार्ड, okay, आधार कार्ड, that's it. None of us go to a police station and say, this is the guy, will you please verify if his Aadhaar is real or not? Who does that, ma'am?
Don't stop the watch. You may slip on verification because you trusted straight away. But if you see anything suspicious, then call the 100. Put the onus on the police for 100. It will give them a lead. Though it means more verification and more work for the police, but it also means prevention for the police from later on investigation work. Look at the cost of investigation. Yeah. Look at the cost of energy, time, effort involving so many agencies in investigation of these cases. It's Herculean effort. And look at the cost of the court, time of the court. It's very, very expensive on energy and time.
Yes, absolutely.
Court time, lawyer's time, money cost, and your energy cost and effort cost. So many agencies are involved. So stitch in time is saving 9.
Ma'am, you know Delhi like the back of your hand. You have, or your Karm Bhumi is this city. Though you went to Puducherry and you worked wonders there too. And I've read your book. I've seen what you did.
You released it.
I released the Hindi version, yes. But you know, I've seen you working out there too and fighting with people to getting work done, because there is a general malaise in administration. It's like, जब तक कोई बोलेगा नहीं या जब तक कोई डंडे नहीं पड़ेंगे करेंगे नहीं. And you wielded the danda enough times in your life.
You visited me in
Yes,
Puducherry.
I visited you.
And you
to see.
visited the open house.
Yes.
The best part is you walked into the open house.
I saw the open house. I saw how people found, the confidence to come up and speak to you. Tell me that, where is it lacking in Delhi? Why is it that people still don't have confidence?
Open up the house. Open up, make it mandatory. Make this mandatory that every government office shall open the door to their own office for an hour a day, even an hour a day. The opening itself is prevention. You see, believe in prevention. It be made mandatory. It's not visitor hour 12 to 1 and somebody walks in and you're not there. No, you have to be there. So you declare your visitor hour, be there, whoever you are, SHO, SDM, Collector, SP, DGP, DIG, Secretary, Chief Secretary, Minister. That means उस time पर आप meeting में नहीं जाएंगे. उस time पे you will have an open house. So open house can be morning, open house can be the lean hour of the day. It can be an open house. But open house which you witnessed as a Lieutenant Governor, when I had an open house, do you know, I got to know my problems. I knew my corruption issues and I knew the challenges. That's why I could respond. And I could go ahead and correct and prevent. So the point is, make it mandatory for all public servants, rank and file, whether you're a politician, whether you're a minister, whether you're a public servant or a secretary, highest rank or lowest, inspector so-and-so, visitor hour, you open house, open the door.
Ma'am, in Delhi, they're all busy with VIP security. Who has the time?
That doesn't matter. The point is, the time नहीं है. Public के लिए तो आप हो. तो आपको public के लिए नहीं है, तो public के लिए time नहीं, तो फिर आपको public पैसा किस लिए दे रही है? Public is paying you. You and I, we are paid by the public to serve the public. All others are. So point is, open the door for a visitor hour, even 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. And if you do that, opening itself is prevention. क्योंकि वो होता था, मुझे पता है, उधर होता था, अच्छा LG हाउस, now the juniors knew, नहीं सुनेंगे तो वहाँ चले जाएंगे राजनिवास. That was prevention.
Yeah.
See, that was itself prevention. मेरे पास अब वो आ रहा था, who had said it involves more than 3 departments, they're not coordinating. Now they came to me, because you see, now that poor man, one person can't say, iska kaam tum bhi karo. He couldn't dictate other terms. I got the role of coordinator, where more than one department is involved, and I could bring them together and get things sorted out.
But as you chronicled, what happens is when you do it, then the political establishment would get irritated. Ab yahan Delhi mein, there also you had the same problem. Here also is the same way. There is one section here, MCD किसी के under आता है. The admin, I won't use terms because there are people outside this country who won't know what MCD means and all, because there are several layers of government. In case you are not living in India and you don't understand this, just to explain to you that Delhi has several layers of government. So there is the center also plays. So the Lieutenant Governor here comes from the center. There is a Delhi government. So we have several layers of government, and that is where all the problem occurs. As you know, ma'am, Delhi police comes under the central government, under the Home Minister. Then you have Mr. Kejriwal, who's the Chief Minister. Ab in dono ke खींचातानी में people suffer. This is what happens. Now, who is one to go? Who are you? Who are the people going to say that who should Shraddha have gone to? Should she have gone to the Lieutenant Governor? Should she have gone to the Chief Minister? किसके पास जाती?
Shraddha, local police station. She doesn't need to go anywhere else. Even a beat officer is perfect. Even 100 call is enough. That's what a citizen needs to know. You don't have to go straight to the LG and the CMs. Go to the local police station. Go to 100. That's what... put it on Twitter. Put it on social media. I'm being beaten. I need help. You tag Delhi police or tag the police. Today, the police departments are on social media. Tag them. You are putting the onus on them. Use social media to seek help.
Right. And what about friends and family? Should they put out on social media, even if their daughter tells them ki mat karo, don't escalate it, like it happened in this case. Suppose she wants her privacy. She says, no, don't put it out. Or if you see like what happened in the other case where the parents killed their own daughter. Should the neighbors turn around and say that this set of parents is ill-treating their daughter?
Why not? It's a duty. Because that ill-treatment is going to lead to serious consequences. It's not chugalbazi, it's not gossip. It's crime prevention. How does crime prevention happen? Unless the citizens cooperate. Unless the citizens are forthcoming. However, it's now the responding police, how it deals with it. With sympathy, with empathy, with mediation, right? With action. Every situation will need its own remedy. Everybody doesn't need a danda, and everybody doesn't need a forgiveness. It is according to that's why doctors see the patient and then prescribe. It's a prescription. And that's a security prescription, which is the expertise of the law enforcement agencies. And they can call a mediator, they can call a counselor, they can ask an NGO to link yourself. There's so many options available.
Options, correct. Like, ma'am, you just recently said, and I'm quoting, we do not know the extent, we do not know the variety of the problem.
Yeah.
We do not know which state is the most vulnerable. We do not know why women are not using the Domestic Violence Act. We have no research on how the act functions. Ma'am, who is this we? Firstly, I need to know. Who all are we? Which is like, is it the government? Is it we as people? Who is it?
Families.
And then,
we means families.
Families.
Families do not know. Families need to know. What is family violence? Now I'm looking at larger family violence. Right. Families need to know family violence. What is the pattern of family violence? Sometimes even alcoholic fathers or angry fathers, even if they're not alcoholic, beat up their children. So what happens to that? Or there is a male member in the family who may be a distant relative or close, abuses the child and the family protects it. It's all family violence. So I think family violence, the pattern of family violence, extent of family violence, the level of toleration, response to family violence, the usage of Domestic Violence Act, I think needs to be understood and read through. We need to regularly educate our people as citizenship through PTAs, through RW associations. The resident welfare associations should take this up as education, as a part of PTAs, RWs. That's where everybody. Panchayats. What about panchayats? You have a sarpanch. 33% are women. What about they being aware of what their rights and responsibility? See, these key heads. If they are trained to understand what is family violence, and there are training programs, that's their duty. Teachers, faculties, laws. And by the way, there's no social audit. I've been saying, where's the social audit to understand? I do believe we are doing Swasthya audits. We are doing Poshan audits. We are doing employment audits. We're doing skill audits. We're doing so many very interesting audits under centrally sponsored schemes to understand where do we go. Technology audits, startups. We're doing many, many audits, surveys. You can, whether they're governmental or non-governmental. What about a social audit on family violence? Why not? And let us understand which state is the most progressive and which is the most regressive.
Ma'am, on family violence, I'm again going to quote what you just recently said. You said, I'm talking about family violence where the woman is the victim, where a man has victimized her or a woman has victimized her. Let it surface. We're all talking generically. We need to become specific so that once we know the specific answers, we know a disease, we know the problem, automatically solutions will come, strategies will come, policies will come. That makes sense to me. Can you tell me just roughly if there is a roadmap as to how we can get or how a government can get specific?
Thank you for asking this. Every university can take up a project. Every university is actually measured by what kind of research have they done. They are rated. How much of social engineering research have they done? It's called social engineering. In this social engineering, one question, if you were, are you suffering from, पहले क्या domestic violence जानते हो क्या है? घरेलू हिंसा है? और क्या जानते हो कि तुम कोई गालियां भी नहीं निकाल सकता? Because even mental harassment is domestic violence, according to the definition of domestic violence, right? Even she being refused to connect with her family is part of domestic violence definition. Even she obviously demanding, going back and demanding things is part of domestic violence. Making a snap off family relation or wanting to support a family member because it's even economic, taking away, forcing her कि salary अपनी आधी दे दो, is all under definitions of domestic violence. So we could say, first of all, पहला question, project from universities. Every law school, every university, colleges, departments of social welfare, departments of criminology, they can all do these projects time to time.
You get to know from students whether their mothers are victims.
Bilkul. So then we rate, then we decide the pattern. Let these become public. They put this on the website. But I want also, अब university करेगी तो अपने area में करेगी ना. Let's do a national survey. Today's, I just now read, United Nations Secretary General has said every minute 11 women are becoming domestic violence victims in the world. That's what he said. It's out in the papers today. He's also talking about. All right, if you're talking about, then what's wrong? Why does the UN also not declare a whole national, international, even rate countries? Even rate countries. So, university, and you don't need money for this. Take this up as internship projects. And what about national? I think a national body, National Commission for Women Rights, a National Human Rights Commission. These are national bodies. These national bodies can go about asking for, and funding it accordingly. Fund agencies. Recently, I've noticed National Commission for Women is promoting and funding seminars on women police stations. Why not? Let's do this as a next step. Let's rate and see where are the women being victims of domestic violence maximum. Rate that state and shame the others.
Yeah.
Rate them, rate the ones who are doing well and shame the others. And then, but it's not naming and shaming only. I think we need to strategize. And strategies could be the following: education, grooming, parenting workshops.
Ma'am, the other thing is about digital footprint. Mostly people are always in touch with each other through WhatsApp groups and all. But here what happens is that he managed to fool many people that she's still alive. It's only when they said that somebody noticed that for a long time they haven't been in touch and they found something suspicious. It's the duty, at least I feel, it's the duty of friends, siblings and all that if you find somebody going silent, not talking, it's necessary to speak. But I feel that, but coming from you would be a stronger advice, isn't it?
Parents should never abandon their daughters, even if the girl has walked away. Never abandon daughters. Why? Daughters need this watch. They need connectivity. But parents should not. I think that's a mistake families make. वो छोड़ के चलेगी खुद ही और वो बात ना कोई नहीं करता ठीक सुरक्षा का ध्यान रखेंगे, कनेक्ट रखेंगे, कहीं ना कहीं से पूछते रहेंगे, ठीक है ना, ठीक है तो ठीक है. I think that's where father abandoned her. It was an abandonment by she has a brother too.
Yeah.
They abandoned. And it's just the friends who connected. Hey, what happened on social media? She's silent, etc. Why not family? Why did the family abandon her? The primary responsibility of a security of a child is of the parent once you become a parent, whether you like your child or not. Now question is, how do you maintain a contact?
Yeah.
Can be through a neighbor, through a friend, through a relative. मुझे ये बता दे वो ठीक है ना, जीवित है ना.
Yeah.
Parent की primary responsibility यही है once you become a parent.
Also, these ego troubles that happen. There are many cases where girls go against parents' wishes and get married.
Yes.
All right? Parents are angry
Yeah.
कि बिना पूछे शादी की और बिना हमारी मर्जी के शादी की. So they stop talking and the girl gets upset that, okay, now I sever ties. And many times men ask their wives in such cases to sever ties with the parental home. That's when all the trouble occurs, is when the girl feels that, somebody you've known for 20, 25, 30 years of your life, you can just sever ties and then rebuild with another set of family, and they will trust you, they will look after you all your life, and you can trust them all your life. Sometimes those things don't work. The earlier safety net was also important.
I think these are early signals. This is what has to be groomed in her upbringing, that you will choose into another home. You choose to. It's your choice to move into another home. You will choose to stay on with another person. But there are lines which must be drawn. एक financial independence नहीं खोनी है. Parents से relationship नहीं खत्म करना है. रिश्तेदारी रखनी है, दोस्ती रखनी है. अपनी independence नहीं खोनी है. So I think this kind of, ये थोड़ी सी समझाना, ये जो 7 फेरे करते हैं ना, ये क्यों नहीं कर देते 7 फेरे, कि तुमने अपनी फाइनेंशियल अगर कमा रही हो, इंडिपेंडेंस रखना.
These vows.
ये vows क्यों
new
नहीं करते?
vows.
ये new vows. Let's go on for new vows.
Yeah.
तो ये new vows है, staying connected. बकर early signs है, अगर तुम्हें गाली गलोच करता है, ये गुस्से वाला है, नशा करने लगता है, और तुम्हारी बेइज्जती करता है, या तुम्हें हाथ उठाता है, पुलिस से पहले रिश्तेदारों को तो बुला लो. Call the friends. Look, I want my relationship because now I have children.
Yeah.
But it's your duty. Friends, please संभालो इसको. वो एक वार्निंग दे जाएंगे, रिश्तेदारी रखेंगे, फ्रेंडशिप रखेंगे, उसके ऊपर कोई डर तो होगा कि मुझे देखने वाला कोई है.
Yeah.
अभी तो वो कह रहा है से नहीं, ताकि मैं उसको दबोच लूं और जो उसको करना करते रहूं. उसी फिर वो मरती है. That's when she does plans. Either she dies every day.
Yeah.
Or she commits suicide.
Ma'am, you were also, IG in Tihar, in the prisons thing. You've seen hardened criminals. Does this case seem like one of those that you saw out there? And you were there for prison reforms. You faced a lot of criticism also when you were there, when you said that ye prison reforms ko bahut zyada aage le gayi hain. Because doing anything new means fighting an entrenched system. So tell me, how did you tackle that at that time when you saw these kind of really hardened criminals? Did you see a ray of hope? Did you see things that human beings can change?
I isolated them. I put them in isolation wards to make them reflect and gave them counselors. So I isolated them and they took me to court saying why she's given us a human rights violation isolation. Court upheld. It's up to the superintendent or the IG to decide how you lodged. Lodging is yours. But my isolation was not a VIP treatment. It was for reflection. Understand what you've done because he has one day to go. The point is, why was I doing prison reforms? For the reason one day they have to go back to society. Let me prepare them for release so that they don't come back.
Yeah.
So this man was also, if he was to go back, then it's a reflection. And I tell you, they broke down on isolation. And in the isolation, they slept on that same blanket. They got the same food. They got isolated and the same food. No extra. और family जो आ रही है, बताओ कौन आ रही है. That is what it was real. You say prison reforms? In fact, I gave them the real imprisonment then, when they were isolated. But also gave them a counselor and gave them books to read. So they were also counseled. a major general retired, was a counselor for these gangsters and these hardened criminals. And in isolated ward, a major general volunteered during that time. It's a part of my book. And he used to come and counsel them. So बात भी कर रहे हैं, अकेला भी नहीं छोड़ रहे हैं ताकि मर जाए, लटक भी ना जाए. लटकने का तो मतलब नहीं. But same carpet, same blanket, same food, same bartan, nothing extra. It was true imprisonment for them, so that they realize what it is to commit such a crime.
And Vipassana, that's another thing.
And also, automatically then we took them to Vipassana, and that's when they melted completely to witness themselves. That's how it surfaced from within them. But that was a later stage. First, isolated, reflection, counseling, reading.
Then reform.
And then come back to meditation.
Okay. And you're a great believer in meditation.
Yes, I am.
You've written about it. You've experienced how it can change a person completely.
Certainly. The dry cleaning of the mind dry cleans your thoughts, dry cleans your actions. It's a dry cleaning of the mind. So if you're looking for deletion and dry cleaning and decongestion, that's when it dry cleans off all the negativity and starts. You made place for positive thoughts, but then you're also reading, you're getting counseling, you're getting bhakti in your this thing. The whole environment is ennobling. The environment changes you.
And it doesn't matter which religion you are.
No, that doesn't matter. Because mind, thoughts are agnostic.
Yeah.
It's negative and positive. Thoughts are agnostic. You may believe in any faith, but thoughts are negative or positive.
Did you face resistance in the prison when you tried all
Yes,
this?
there was a community which said yoga would change our religion. I said, you try. You try and see, because it's all about mind-body union. So it's all about you and your mind and body. They accepted it later, but they had to be explained.
This is 25 years ago, before yoga was big.
Yes.
You were doing it in Tihar. Ma'am, the other thing I remember, I mean, this is from my childhood, I remember. I even started studying, I remember. I was one of that generation. I'm sure there'll be many who will remember this. I wanted to take the IPS just because of Kiran Bedi. Let me tell you this. You're legendary.
You would have been very good.
No, ma'am. बहुत पढ़ना पड़ता. So,
अब तुम दूसरों को पढ़ाते.
So I didn't take it, but then I got all the books and I said, "Chalo, bhai." I mean, you know that Kiran Bedi wala incident. I've asked you this before on stage, and I've asked you in other interviews, but now this is my podcast, so ma'am, explain what happened that day, and why did you get the name Kiran Bedi?
Because there were no cranes to remove badly parked cars when I took over as DCP traffic, and the roads were clogged. Broken down buses, broken down trucks, and there were no cranes to remove them. So people would divert, people would get jammed up. So I said, what's the solution?
This is Asian Games ke time.
Asian Games time. There's a solution. They said, ma'am, we don't have cranes. Now, I can't wait for a government sanction and the money to come. So I hired all the Delhi private cranes. I not hired them, mobilized them. Summoned them, mobilized them, made them earn for the cost they're picking up the car, and we did a traffic fine. It was a win-win situation.
And it wasn't that there were so many cranes. This is what, 1982 or 83 or something like that.
Whatever was the crane, private crane,
Yeah.
they were on my list. And they came in because they were also lying idle. जब तक कोई बड़ी चीज नहीं बुलाई. Here they were not. Here every day they were doing business. And that is what helped. I did not wait for government to buy a crane. I mobilized support, summoned them, and then put microphones on them, cop on them, announcing we are coming, remove, otherwise you're done. So we gave people a chance to.
Including government officers' cars. वो जो लाल बत्ती वाली गाड़ियाँ हैं, सफेद वाली
कई बारी
ambassador
ड्राइवर
cars.
के साथ भी उठाई है. उसने कहा अच्छा मैं तो बैठा रहूंगा और उसने ड्राइवर के साथ उठा ली. See, the message was fall in line. We need clear roads for people to. So regulation of traffic was my priority. People must save time traveling on the road. Because you get clear roads, unobstructed roads. So that's how we cleared out Ghaziabad borders, etc. All by one crane. Just positioning one crane on Ghaziabad border at that time. And the truck was afraid to lose because a truck maybe kundi lag jayegi and he's losing business. They all cleared my roads by just one crane.
Yeah. But that's your trademark, ma'am, that, you believe in this discipline at all costs. I've seen what you did about defecation, open defecation, and how you fought that it should not happen in when you were there in Puducherry. And it was like, no excuses. And I remember lots of people were angry with you because you took the camera and you said, I will take photographs. And they said, oh, look at this, she's privacy kharab kar rahi hai. So tell us about that, how you did that.
Sanitation is the first thing for any city management and any person worthwhile. And I'm so glad our Honorable Prime Minister talked about
From the Red
toilets,
Fort. Yeah.
toilets from the ramparts of the Red Fort. Had he not done that, had we not had toilets in place by then, COVID would have been a bigger disaster. Because where do people go? Actually, toilets had just been getting built, and COVID struck. People had toilets in their own homes. Otherwise, where would they have gone? And the disease would have spread even more had they been all around, all this excreta around. I think we just made it in time.
Yeah.
For me, sanitation comes first before work comes. It has to be clean surrounding, green surrounding, and healthy surrounding. I think that's what makes you work.
And also, they were not willing to clean those toilets. You remember, ma'am, that happened. Yeah. You documented that also, and that how you got, some girl came up to you and said, "Main karungi saaf."
That's right. Yeah. So I think that's what happened. But it worked when we showed this kind of relentless determination. Just as you saw Prime Minister's relentless determination, they funded it. CSR came a lot in making toilets. Corporate social funding, government funding, states funding, and determination actually helped. And India has become safer because of this. Otherwise, we would have been seriously in the pandemic still if the toilets and all excrete around. Because flies, mosquitoes, are all getting you infected. But now you don't see that. It's come under huge control. And water polluting. What about water pollution? Because they were all sitting on the sides of these lakes.
Yeah, lakes.
And the same lake is going for recycling.
Yeah.
So it's made a lot of difference. So unless you make it into a passion, and it's a mission. I can't stay without it. In fact, my second day in Rajnivas took me to the Grand Canal of Puducherry, which was dirty, which is iconic for Puducherry. It was the second day as Lieutenant Governor. Why? Because I found the stink coming to Rajnivas itself. Stink of a Grand Canal, of carrying sewage water where it should not have. And when I started that recovery, and who started it? It was a local MLA who came to me saying, ma'am, can you come to this is my constituency. Nobody's listening to me. MLA said, nobody's listening to me, ma'am, I need you to visit it.
Ma'am, you were talking about stench, dirty water, lakes. That was in Puducherry.
Yeah.
You live in Delhi. You've seen the state of the Yamuna. It's so filthy. You've lived here in the month of October, in the month of November, when you cannot breathe the air. You can actually smell. You can see the soot in the air. That we are all choking away. But your former colleague, your former friend is the Chief Minister. आपने कुछ नहीं बोला उन्हें?
Well, everybody thinks they're the best. They know best. And I'm sure he also knows he's the best. And he thinks he knows it all. But what I think Delhi, my city, our city, needs is night cleaning.
Night cleaning?
Night cleaning. Puducherry had night cleaning. We used to do two-level cleaning. We used to do a 10 a.m. cleaning and we used to do night cleaning. So when people walked the streets, they weren't clean. We did it twice. It spent money. We spent money, we got it. So night cleaning. Earlier, of course, there was night cleaning, but they were not doing their job. Here now we're watching it and getting it done. So they delivered. We had the manpower. We had the contract with the Swachhta Corporation and we were paying the money. But the money not well spent, now money totally spent because of supervision. Supervise, get on the roads yourself, see things for yourself. The municipal commissioners, the deputy commissioners should take rounds, photographs, put them on the Twitter handle and say night cleaning and also wherever you're finding a dump. Because you have manpower even in Delhi. They just have to deliver better. One. So introduce night cleaning quickly. And secondly is that we need to introduce home digesting. Bring in a quick technology to do home digesting of particularly the soft waste, right? Or the recycling. So It can be even RWAs, because some of them are now trying, but very few. Make it mandatory. Every RWA has to handle its own issues of garbage management, recycling, plastic recycling, organic waste. Once you have this technology, third, find the technology to do dump management quickly. You'll recover crores of rupees of land, but also stop pollution. Look, there are simple solutions. But the key is municipal commissioner, the deputy municipal commissioners, the locals, the inspectorate, everybody walks the streets 1 hour in the morning. How dare. We used to do that. I'm not saying something which is, it's worked. When the officers walk the streets, take photographs, take accountability, call the local area person, call the RWA, ye kya hai ji? Ye kyun chalega? So I think citizens' participation, citizens' responsibility with these 2-3 steps. Night cleaning, digesters, organic digesters, they're simple, they're easy. RWA's responsibilities, the local area panchayats, right? And then the large dump management for larger technology to start digesting it and make manure out of it, power out of it, gas out of it. It's green gold. These dumps are green gold if you want to look at it. They are green gold because they can be harvested for energy and manuring and many other components, elements which they have.
Ma'am, you have so many ideas on how to improve our urban centers. I won't even go into whether it is city or town because you've lived in both, you've worked in both, and you have these ideas. I know you don't want to talk politics and you don't want to talk specifics, but you did try and get into politics at one point of time, and then you bid goodbye to it. Can you still do things without being a politician? Can you still bring about change?
Oh, administration can completely do it. Civil servants can do it. What stops civil servants to walk the streets? What bars the senior most? The Lieutenant Governor of Delhi is doing this. But if he's doing it, what about others? He's doing it.
Yeah.
And that's where he's driving the change, by the way. What about everybody else? There are lakhs of employees in Delhi. Delhi has very high population of public servants.
But you're seeing how much of resistance he's facing from the Aam Aadmi Party, even though the LG is doing it.
Immaterial of that. Change, anything innovative, original, new, will also get him credits. Well, walk with him. Walk with him. Nothing stops you. Go with him.
You're talking about the Chief Minister or the
Go
Deputy
with
Chief
him.
Minister. Yeah.
Why doesn't the local minister go with him? Where's the competition? Why are you competing? He's playing his role, you play your own. Why don't you go with him? It'll overnight change the city of Delhi. Stop competition. Stop looking for only credit. Work for combined city, clean city. So, but if the MLAs don't want, they only want to compete for credits. All right, what about public servants? They're not competing. It's their duty to do it.
They're getting caught, they say, between the rivalry of...
They're finding excuses. Okay. These are excuses. They have their own duty to perform, Smita. They have their own duty to perform. They must do it fearlessly.
So if you were Chief Minister, I know you don't want to get into politics and you don't want to talk politics, but if you were Chief Minister, what would you do for Delhi today? One, about the crime situation, which we began the podcast with. One was that. And two, to improve the living conditions of people in Delhi. What would you do?
You say if I were Chief Minister of Delhi?
Yes.
I would have stopped, first of all, that smoking coming from Punjab.
How?
Plenty. Go work there. Work there. There are solutions. ये नहीं पैसे रखे फेल हो गए माफ कर देना फेल हो गए मगर 1 साल के बाद माफ कर देना ये माफ कर देना तब तक तो मुझे तो अस्थमा हो गया ये हो गया see the question is not maafi it's not a question of acceptance failure it's not a question of asking for time it's like valuing people's time and being very anxious and angry why it has happened. But the question is that's most hypothetical.
You don't even feel hypothetical, ma'am, because that means that you're not delivering on the promises that you made to your electorate.
Who
isn't
made
it? If it was made that we will give you clean air is the basic thing, right? To give to your electorate.
Clean air is the basic health today.
Yeah.
In fact, Delhi is becoming unlivable because you can't breathe. My lovely South Delhi house, I could sit in the balcony and open the windows, etc., and doors and breathe fresh air. I can't. In fact, half of the bread is full of dust. It's full of pata nahi kya kya. It's unlivable now. City is unlivable. And whatever we can do collectively, individually and collectively, regionally, as an NCR, we must do it as soon as possible. Everybody together. Because it's people's lives, children's future. Their outdoor has stopped. Children's outdoor has gone for a toss. Where do they go walking on the track? How can they go running and jogging on the streets? How can they go cycling? How can they go playing? And the schools also will say indoor, because it's all outdoor is full of dust, which is a fact. I think we are affecting the next generations. That's a number one issue at the moment for the city. And if the person concerned has a control in the neighboring, then that is a major source also, even if it's 20%. Even if 20, I don't know the research. But even if it is, why not? Why not? Because that's also under your control. You have a dual responsibility.
Yes. So what would you advise him to do? What exact steps would you tell him? Where should he focus? As a Delhiite, he's your chief minister too. Forget about what happened in the past. He's your chief minister too. What would you tell him to do today?
Camp in Punjab. Camp in Punjab and get it done. Camp in Punjab. I understand the research is showing that the chief minister of Punjab's constituency was the biggest polluter. Why can't each MLA of that place camp in their own constituencies? Camp in their own constituency, take charge and take responsibility. Each one of them camps there and saying, this is how you have to be rated. Put the onus on each elected representative. Why not? And the panchayats. Them and the panchayats will still happen. But what is needed for the farmers? Provide them that. I believe there was money available. I believe there is a machinery available. I believe there's a technology available. I believe. Put it together. But camp yourself there. Monitor on a regular basis. But put the elected representatives who've been elected, whoever it is, whether it's of one party or the other, each one of them is responsible. That's what the role of the city's chief minister is. Go camp there before it starts and go village to village. Walk the village. Now, this is not for gathering votes. It's for people's health. That will bring you votes.
Ma'am, we discussed about what the advice you would give a chief minister. Now, what would you advise the commissioner of police of Delhi to make Delhi a safe place?
I do not know his style of working right now, but I would like to see him more visible. I see him driving technology changes very well, putting systems in place very well. I noticed that. Futuristic data management and predictions on crime very well, because that's coming in the newspapers. So mine is only related to what's coming in the newspapers. But I wanted to I like to see leadership more visible. That's exactly what I said earlier. If the leadership is more visible, which means that he finds time to connect at the grassroots. He can pick up a police station of the day, right?
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I'm so busy. Yes, you are exceedingly stressed out. I know that. But do not go away from the ground level.
The connect with people.
The connect with the people. Connect with not only the people, but their own rank and file. They cannot see you. The constabulary doesn't get to see you. Visit the police stations. Look at their premises. Look at their amenities. Talk to them and find out how they're performing. Listen to them. Hear them out. They got ideas. So I would like to see him at least 3 times in a week visit police stations directly. At announced or unannounced time, would be good to have announced time. Give people a chance. Because, overnight. And then don't declare which police station will you go. Anyone.
Okay, surprise ones.
Yeah, anyone. But commissioner is going to be on the move.
There's probably a reason why, ma'am, that forces got together and made sure that you didn't become commissioner. इसी डर से कि ये कहीं पे भी पहुंच जाएंगी. I still remember the time, ma'am, when God bless his soul, he's no longer there. Was Mr. Dadwal, who was junior to you, became commissioner of police, and you didn't. What did you feel at that time? Like you felt anger, or you felt can't fight this system anymore?
I moved on immediately. I didn't hang on. I didn't complain. I didn't fret and fume. I moved on immediately, and I had my own plans, and destiny opened up many other doors for me. I moved on, but it was a huge loss because I trained half of the Delhi police as Joint Commissioner, Special Commissioner training. It was a very strong missed opportunity, both for the force collectively and myself. But I'd grown up with the force, so I know it. But I moved on. I didn't fret and fume. If you did, I complain? I moved on. And Aapki Kacheri came after that, Siddharth Basu's. See what a great opportunity that was, where I became a citizen's judge.
Yeah.
When I started to see Aapki Kacheri, was not a citizen's court.
You played many roles. I mean, you didn't. It wasn't as if you went away from the scene. There was always something or the other that you were doing. Becoming, you moved even into that. I'm going to tell the viewers that ma'am is dabbing on this typical Kiran Bedi ma'am, where she's got an injury, but she did not stop and she didn't say कि मैं shoot पे नहीं आ सकती क्योंकि injury हो गई है. In spite of the injury, she's sitting here with me for almost an hour, and that's why I'm a huge admirer of Kiran Bedi ma'am. Ma'am, you tried, you've always been connected with the people of this city. And not just city, I mean, I've seen you in Puducherry too. It's citizens of the country also, because it matters for you. India Against Corruption was one, where you just felt very seriously that corruption is breaking the back of this nation and we will not be able to move forward. Tell me about your experience in that. How it started, why you got joined in and why you didn't just give up.
I went for a cause. Cause was met because we did successfully achieve exposure of the extent of corruption which was prevailing at that time. Whether it was Commonwealth Games, whether it was Adarsh Society in Maharashtra,
yes,
whether it was 2G, right or wrong, but mass corruption. We successfully exposed it to the extent, and media took on and explained it very well. And we also lobbied for the Lokpal bill at that time. We did get the act finally, but without enough teeth, etc. That came in later. But we did. We could put the issue on the table straight away and made it a national imagination and national dialogue. I think I fulfilled my role as a citizen of the city. Because if I had not joined then, I could have regretted later that time, while I speak a lot on television, etc., jab challenge aaya, to you chickened out.
Who got you into that movement? Was it Anna Hazare?
Anna's entry.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Anna, and there were many other people joined in at that time. So Anna was the main force because Anna stood for like the modern Gandhian. That's how he emitted that. For me, it is Anna's presence which made it so noble.
But then what happened then?
It was turning political. It started over a period when it became so beautiful, so widespread. The intentions started to change.
But without political, muscle, should I say, or without a political direction, could the India Against Corruption have achieved more? Like, was the...
Oh, we could have remained a vigilant, a fourth pillar of the government. Had we not gone political, we could have remained. That's how we were envisaging.
Okay.
That would remain an independent, non-political force which would speak up of corruption anywhere. Not aligned. That's how we were envisioning that this will remain independent citizen's voice, which will talk about corruption or illegality anywhere. So that means it's a citizen's voice which continues to be together. That's it. That was the vision at that time.
So Anna also believed in that vision.
Anna believed in that. Anna would have stayed on to become a citizen's voice had we remained a citizen's voice.
Mr.
Santosh Hegde also would have remained in the group had we remained a citizen's voice.
So what you're telling me is that more people wanted it to be apolitical.
Yes, that's what everything was considered, trusted and believed that it would remain apolitical.
Then why wasn't it this wing stronger as compared to the people who wanted to make it political?
It was swung away. It was completely swung away. And Anna walked away. So without Anna, there's no movement.
But you aren't the kind who walks away. And if you walk away, it's out of... I've seen you walking away.
Non-acceptance. It was not acceptance. It was not acceptance. It was, for me, that was not acceptable. We stood up for an independent voice to become a citizen's voice against corruption. And that's how, when it was now going to be used for a purpose and it was being hijacked away, abandoning Anna, it was a different issue.
But didn't you see the signs of it being political?
When the signs had come, that's how the cracking had come. And that's where the distances started to happen.
And then you supported Mr. Modi in 2015, I think, if I'm not mistaken. You endorsed him openly and you supported him. And then Mr. Jaitley thought that you would be perfect as Chief Minister of Delhi. When somewhere in that campaign, one could see that your heart was not in it. That you just felt that this is not it. When was that moment?
Because that was not me. Even when Mr. Jaitley suggested that I do consider this, it was on one very soft point, saying, Kiran, you are belonging to Delhi. It's your responsibility to now serve Delhi. But I said, sir, I don't know. I'm not oriented towards electoral politics. I have no transaction in my mind. I transform things, but I don't transact. I don't ask, मैंने ये आपके लिए किया तो मेरे लिए आपने किया. So, sir, he says, you leave politics to us. You fight the election as a Delhiite and you administer. The agreement between me and Mr. Jaitley was very clear. I would serve as administration and administer, and the other things. So, agreement was, I will not offer a penny. I will not raise a penny. So, no money, give and take. Anybody came for anything, said go to the headquarters. So, my clear was, I've got nothing to do with political money and I've got nothing to do with politics. I will serve. I was administer, which was my strength. So, he said, yes, you take care of this, we'll take it. That was the agreement.
And that you wouldn't attack Mr. Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party.
Why should I? Why should I? See, I have to say many times, and they say, would you give this free? Would you give this free? I said, no, I will look at the budget and see if the budget prevents. I never said yes.
You don't believe in freebies?
No, I look at the budget. If I made a budget and it's needed and I can raise the money, I can budget. Why not? If I can budget. But I won't change the heads. I won't do it I won't do it to lure. You need it, I'll give it to you. You need it, I'll give it to you. But I have to budget it. I have to earn it. And I've got to let the people know you also have to contribute. So I think that was my nature. So I was very upfront even when the नाली साफ करोगे ऐसे नहीं करवाऊंगी जरूर नाली साफ मैं नहीं करूंगी मैं करवा दूंगी So no वो तो पहले ही करते थे एडमिशन फ्री करा दोगे अपॉइंटमेंट फ्री करा दोगे ऐसे नहीं स्कूल के रूल्स होंगे तो मैं एडमिशन दिला दूंगी अपॉइंटमेंट होगी तो स्कूल्स के अपॉइंटमेंट के रूल्स के अनुसार देयर वाज नो फ्री नो ब्लैंकेट से हाँ मैं करा दूंगी मैं ये एडमिशन भी करा दूंगी अपॉइंटमेंट भी करा दूंगी ये भी मुफ्त में दूंगी नहीं बजट होगा तो मिलेगा और रूल्स होगा तो मिलेगा Oh, they realize ये तो कुछ नहीं मिलेगा इससे
So didn't the BJP tell you that at least बोलने के लिए बोल दो?
Nirmala Sitharaman was handling my. She was so nice. एक पारी आया कि किरण को ना किचन में बेलने के लिए जाओ वीडियो करो. Kiran is in her kitchen and rolling the rotis. So they said, ma'am, it is desired that you do this. I said, forget it. Forget it. I'll not give you anything, but I don't do. I get it done. पहले तो मैं एक ही खाती हूँ और वो भी I get it done. But मैं सारा दिन कुछ और करती हूँ. मैं इसका टाइम सेव करती हूँ. मुझे रोटी मिल जाती fortunately. So, and I told Nirmala, I said, Nirmala, this is what they are saying. He said, no, ma'am, you won't do it.
Okay.
No, ma'am, you won't do it. This is not you. So he was actually coordinating so beautifully. She was respecting my authenticity. So I was just remaining who I was. So for me, it was not saying lure of this position. It was the responsibility of the position.
And uske baad you said you bid goodbye.
But that was it. That was the agreement. Moved on.
You moved on. You would not like to get into electoral politics ever.
It's not my nature. Electoral, as I said, it's not my nature. I'm very good in, if you got a constitution, you got the law, you got the rule, you got the manpower, you got the budget, and you have got the responsibility, I'll get it done. But not say, okay, I do this for you now, you do this for me.
So tell me, of all the tenures that you have done, from crimes, preventing crime against women in West Delhi, to traffic, to your jail stint, which is the one that you enjoyed the most, or you felt that you managed to make a lot of difference?
Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry.
Yes, okay.
It was, first of all, almost nearing 5 years. There was no tenure which I did for such a long time. All others were very short, though we made modifications even in all these, including 2 years only Tihar, but you still remember it. It's only 2 years. But here I lasted 4 years and almost 9 months. And it was so fulfilling every day. But I tell you, I gave it all. There was no Saturday, there was no Sunday, there was no night or day. It was so fulfilling and it was so rewarding. And I could see people benefiting completely, happy and very grateful and very cooperative. Bahut acha tha. I think it was most fulfilling for me. Also because I went to it with maximum experience.
Also, ma'am, you've met with so many prime ministers, including Indira Gandhi and with Rajiv Gandhi. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences, your interactions with prime ministers?
I find the current prime minister highly result-oriented, highly professional, totally matter of fact. काम की बात करो और काम करना है तो क्या चाहिए वो बता दो. So he's very matter of fact, very professional, very target oriented, very measured, and has no favors to give, no favors to offer. He is a very, very strong professional, authentic leader. He's a missionary at work. I find him totally missionary at work. He's a mission. We look for a truly karam yogi. He's truly a karam. You may agree with this we find people distracted, but he's a truly karam yogi, and he's homegrown karam yogi.
What does that mean?
Means he's bred as a karam yogi.
Okay.
He started as a karam yogi, and he's been groomed as a karam yogi. I think the organization has actually groomed a leader very rare of its kind. He started being this serving, understanding, learning, reading, spirituality, ethics, geography, traveling all over the country, understanding organizational skills. He's a homegrown organizational person. That's why he's very good in all these aspects, because he's spent all his life learning these ropes. You don't have any others learning the ropes from elementary. When he started to market with his father, he was learning public relations. He was learning communications. He was learning marketing. How does he sell?
The tea, yeah.
The tea. How does he sell his tea?
Yeah.
And he was also sensing how people buy. Why would they buy? And he's also stretching beyond. And then he's combining spiritual. He's also gone into the Himalayas to... so he's basically a missionary. He's a sannyasi in this dress.
So to serve this country of 100 billion plus, one needs that kind of zeal, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. We are very, to my mind, without being adulating, I think we needed a man like them and the kinds of situations we crossed through. We needed a man like him. And I can tell you, if India can continue with this for the next 5 years, you know what? I had nothing to do with this. I used to look at my fate line. I used to like his speeches when he was making the speeches, and I had no inclinations for either. I didn't know what was coming. I used to say, I used to look at my fate line, because India was going through huge corruption at that time, and India now needed a shift. We needed integrity. Who leader comes doesn't matter, but honest leadership, right? I used to look at my fate line, saying, as an Indian, is my fate line going to be deeper as an Indian, that India moves towards a whole trajectory of growth and makes an impact internationally? Because I was traveling overseas and I was seeing what was happening. So if my fate line is deeper, India will be well led. Without knowing, any time the leader will come connect with me somehow. And I used to tweet also. I used to like his speeches, and I used to tweet without being political or non-political, because for me, I was a citizen who was sensitive to issues. I used to do that. And I used to say, if my fate lied, I think India has gained tremendously last. I've just come back from overseas. Every Indian is very proud of being an Indian overseas today. Indians are wealthier outside. They're looking to serve India. If they had the voting rights, I tell you, they would have loved it.
So, in spite of the challenges that India faces today, you are optimistic about the future of this country.
If it continues, it has a continuity and well led. It needs a very important continuity of huge infrastructure developments which we made, investments which we've made, policies which we've made. We need continuity and growth. And we need to turn around this bureaucracy to become karmyogis. If we can turn around, which I'm sure he will, and his team will, he makes a great team. If he does that, and each karmyogi is out on the streets and being a real self-driven. Self-walking, self-driven. If every bureaucrat, whatever the responsibility, is karmyogi, walking the streets, smelling, feeling, hearing, seeing, correcting, hands-on, even for an hour a day, India would be different in next 4 or 5 years. India has it all. India has the potential. India is no more poor. India is rich in manpower, rich in human resource, rich in demographic dividend. We only have to build on that and let it have the self-confidence that India can be the best. Spiritually so powerful. Look, India is being looked up to, even spiritually today.
Right. On that very optimistic note, ma'am, thank you so much for coming here and giving us advice, hope, and telling parents and society what to do to keep our public places and our homes safer. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, Smita. It's been a nice long one, but I hope this didn't irritate you too.
No, not at all. The fact that I'm most honored that in spite of this, you just continued undeterred.
Oh, that is okay. For these are little minor matters.
Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thanks. That was my conversation with iconic police officer Kiran Bedi. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for writing and writing in about your comments and suggestions on who to invite to this podcast and what issues we should touch. We certainly will keep it in mind when we invite guests in the near future. Namaste, Jai Hind.